Hello everyone and welcome back. Today I'm going to be cutting 4 books from my batch from the self-published fantasy blog off round 8. Unfortunately, as I have said before, only 1 book can go through, and it is time to say goodbye to these 4 entries. The first book that I'm going to be cutting today is Fate's Long Shadow by Marcella Cabo. Jace should have died the night giants raided her village, and her mother thought so as well. When blue fire threatens to destroy her and the giants, she chooses to live and face the consequences. Shackles bind her, yet she may yet inherit the powers of a high priestess. One fateful night she throws the oracle bones and sets in motion events that she has lost control of, finding herself in the middle of a political struggle between the different giant clans. Fueled by rage and ancient grudges, the giants threaten Jace at every turn. She'll shape her own future as a priestess of the Dark Goddess and a matron of her own house, if only she can survive. This story is told in a future date. We are looking back at past events. We meet Jace at 8 years old, although her voice does feel a little bit older at times. There is a lot of magic in this world, which is something I enjoy, and Jace has her own gifts, which we begin experiencing straight away. There is a lot of visual description and movement described in fight scenes, and in fact I found that a little bit too much. I had to keep going back and rereading passages to try and pick out all the details. And I found myself moving quite slowly through this book, so it was at this point I decided not to finish. The second book that I'm going to be cutting today is King Arthur vs. Robin Hood by Sage Ravenwood. At the end of a 5-year war, Arthur Pendragon, a man who was never supposed to be king, sits uneasily on the throne of Avalon. Meanwhile, Robin of Locksley arrives at Moonhallow in the south. He finds a military division of hostile soldiers, and he needs to find allies if he's going to uncover the secret of Moonhallow and return to Locksley. Disaster and treachery lap at the borders of Avalon, and forces beyond understanding draw the king and soldier together for one fateful battle. This is not your typical Robin Hood story. Robin leads an army on the northern edge of Avalon defending against invaders, and there are major battles, exploding things. The chapters are marked with the perspective, which is great. It's always good to be clear on whose chapter you're in. But unfortunately, I found the story began to tangle on itself. Events which happened in the perspective next chapter didn't seem to tie up with what had happened before and what I was expecting to see from what we had already experienced. So I found myself going back and reading through the chapters to see if I'd missed some hints. I mean, I do enjoy untangling a mystery, but I just couldn't tie this one together. So unfortunately, this one is a cut. The next book that I'm going to be cutting is A Day of Darkness by Susanna Roundtree. A warrior running from his past and a djinn running from her future. Can they save the city, or will they doom it? Tripoli, 1289. Trapped in the future by dark magic, John Bessarion is determined to find his way home. Yet when his quest leads him to a city on the brink of destruction, John discovers that not all have forgotten his name or the terrible things he once did to protect his people. An enslaved djinn, Soraya feels she will never be anything but a killer. Sent to infiltrate and betray a city under siege, Soraya feels she will never be able to subvert her mission. Until, that is, she stumbles across a face from her long-forgotten past. When John and Soraya join forces to save a city, they attract the attention of the opposite sides in an ancient battle of evil versus evil. I really struggled with this one. On the one hand, the writing is absolutely beautiful. The descriptions are luscious. It just flows so smoothly. On the other hand, it just took forever for me to get anywhere in this book. The amount of research that has gone into this is clear, and the settings are just wonderfully vivid, and that was a bloody great opening line. But I just felt like I should know more. This is book 3 in a series, and although I was told that these could be read in any order, the suggesting reading order from the author is that this is book 3. Characters and a certain object are important, but I have no context or investment. So I did decide not to finish this one and therefore cut it from my batch. The fourth book that I will be cutting this time round is The Djinn and the Two Kingdoms by Peter Blaisdell. Thiago doesn't think of himself as a thief, but he is. A portal connects medieval Arabia to a magical city of high palaces and brewing revolution under a psychopathic king. Thiago, a daredevil djinn, uses the portal to steal the king's treasure. The demon world and the human world will violently collide if the king manages to recover his treasure from Thiago and use it to finance an invasion in the human world. Thiago began as a thief, but must now stop a supernatural war. This one seemed to move quite quickly as I read through it. Some really nice descriptions, especially of the stark beauty of the desert environment. But as I read through this, I began to feel as though I was missing something. I felt as though we were only seeing really the surface of events and characters. So unfortunately, I did not finish this one, and it is therefore a cut. So those are 4 books that I am cutting. I hope something sounds interesting to you. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you all soon.